This is where everything begins, in balance. The scent of soil after the rain, that earthy perfume we call petrichor, is the smell of life waking up. Do you want to smell? Do you want to sense the scent of a farm? Would you like to smell it? It's the smell of farmers' hope, of mornings filled with promise, of food grown with care. But somewhere along the way, the world changed. The scent of soil was replaced by the sting of chemicals. Society called it progress, forgetting that soil is alive. I have seen both worlds, one breathing with nature, and the other suffocating in the name of productivity. But soil hasn't forgotten. Even beneath chemicals, it waits, patiently, still alive. One world forgets, one remembers. And right here, between the two worlds, is our choice. Which one will we grow? So now, let's talk about how our choice shapes everything. Let me take you back to the moment that changed everything for me. I grew up in a modest home in Indonesia, warm, loving, but becoming more conservative each year. I followed expectations placed on young women. Yet, a voice deep inside me kept whispering that my life might unfold differently. People told me, seek God, look upward. But my attention was always drawn downward, to the soil beneath my feet, to the little details everyone else walked past. And the more I looked, the more I felt that the divine doesn't only live above us, but it also lives within the earth. Caring for the land slowly became a way of grounding myself. That courage grew when I met my Belgian partner, Ulysses. He never pushes answers, he encourages questions. Society disapproved of our relationships. Some people even doubted our differences, our choices, but I kept asking myself, if faith is rooted in compassion, why do we let fear divide us? So, I chose love, and with it, the courage to step into a very different life in Belgium. Belgium opened my eyes. It introduced me to a world where sustainability wasn't just a trend, but a daily practice, where conversations revolved around soils and what nature is trying to tell us. And in that environment, I found my passion, cooking and baking. And kitchen became my classroom, teaching me to ask where our food comes from. One day, while holding a single tomato, I caught myself wondering, like, who grew this tomato? How far did it travel? And what about the farmers? Were they paid enough to live? Those questions led me to join a community-supported agriculture in Brussels, where farmers grew incredible produce, yet struggled to survive. And it reminded me of the same hardships I had seen growing up in Indonesia. Two continents, two stories, one shared problems. One shared problems. And then one evening, as we talked about what we had witnessed, my partner asked me, if we already see the problem so clearly, what are we waiting for? And that question stuck with me. And in March 2022, with little resources but a big purpose, we moved back to Indonesia. We expected challenges, but what we saw was heartbreaking. Silent fields, compacted soil, empty pesticides containers, land pushed to explosion. According to UNCCD, Indonesia has over 32 million hectares of degraded land. And globally, we lose 24 billion tons of fertile soil each year. If soil could scream, we would all hear it. Why? Because monoculture replaced diversity. Chemicals became the norm, and cheap food hides expensive consequences. And the people who feed us are the ones earning the least. If soil collapses, everything collapses with it. Our food, our farmers, and our future. We knew we couldn't stay silent. We needed a response rooted in care, dignity, and possibility. And from that moment, a seed was planted, one that would grow into Ecotica. Ecotica was built on a simple belief. When we care for nature, it cares back. The name of Ecotica comes from ecology and etika, an Indonesian word for ethics. It represents our mission to rebuild food system rooted in respect. Respect for the earth and respect for the people who stewards it. And from that belief, Ecotica stands on 3 pillars. One is agroecology. We practice regenerative farming such as seed saving, composting, intercropping, so that farmers can break free from chemical dependence and build climate resilience. The second one is value-added innovation. We transform perishable harvests into sauces, jams, chips, teas, turning potential waste into products that celebrate local crops and create new income opportunities. And the third one is community empowerment. We make agriculture great again, inspiring again, by reconnecting people of all ages to the land through workshops and trainings. Women and young people and the broader community we discover farming as creative, meaningful, and future focused. Each harvest a reminder that food has a human story behind it. But our journey wasn't easy. We faced real challenges, especially from the community themselves. People were afraid and skeptical. They are afraid to take risks and simply tired of promise that never led to real change. We learned that regeneration is not only about soil, but it's also about trust. But there were small shifts, not many. Only 1 or 2 farmers who were brave enough to try polyculture on a tiny part of their land. Others weren't ready yet, but they began coming to us with questions, seeking advice, and wanting to know what regeneration really meant. And even if they couldn't change their practice right away, curiosity had opened a door, and sometimes it's the first sign that something is starting to move. At the beginning, we have seen 2 worlds, one alive, one running out of life. And on our very first regeneration project, a small thought that had grown rice the same way for years, I watched something extraordinary begin to unfold. Soil that was compacted, depleted, tired, began to wake up. So, if there is one thing I want you to remember, it's this. Soil forgives when we choose to heal it. Let's take a look at this. The signs appear quietly. Earthworms shifting through roots and soil, a snake weaving through the climbing plants, and bamboo sticks, not as a threat, but as a reminder that life is returning. A lizard passed on a tree branch, as if the land finally feels safe again. And the butterflies drift back, drawn by color and nectar, and the hum of the bees in the new flowering strips confirm it. The ecosystem is knitting itself back together. This land isn't just producing crops. It is rebuilding relationships between soil, plants, insects, and every creature that depends on gravity. This is not a model farm. It started as a question. Could tired soil come alive again? And what we are seeing just now, it's just the beginning. It's the first step in learning to listen and give soil what it had been asking for. If a single plot can nourish life again, imagine what becomes possible when we nurture the world that fits us all. Thank you very much.